Time goes by, years and decades. She comes, she goes, but her story remains so. She is you, I, and the others. She belongs to herself and not another. She is whole, complete, and absolute, for she is resolute. Hello and welcome to She Is Resolute. I'm your host Suvarna, and our endeavor on this show is to showcase conversations of grit and growth for the determined modern woman willing to take complete ownership of her life and her mindset. Our attempt is to bring to the fore actionable information on personal development through discussions with experts and personalities who have, in one way or another, proven that they too are resolute. So enjoy the episode and please do like, share, and subscribe. Our guest today is someone I admire tremendously. She embodies the driven yet balanced modern woman, not only living life on her own terms, but also contributing significantly to the community, to her community. We have with us on She's Resolute today Protima Tiwary. While Protima dons many hats with grace and excellence, the significant ones amongst the many are being an entrepreneur, a freelance content writer, a brand consultant, and a fitness and lifestyle blogger. Her journey began post completing her MBA with working for a digital marketing firm, and she started blogging in 2012, through which she ventured into freelance content writing and branding services. In the past 7 years, Protima's writing has been published across various esteemed Indian publications, and she has worked on content management for various national and international brands. As a result of her rich experience and network being a freelancer, providing branding and marketing services since 2014, Protima recently founded The Mill in October 2019. The Mill is a community of select freelancers who provide quality work while maintaining a healthy work-life balance and ensuring timely payments. The Mill caters primarily to homegrown small businesses and local brands by helping them understand their brand identity and position, curate social media content and campaigns, organize various events, and overall ensure a robust online presence. Protima Tiwary, ladies and gentlemen, challenges the age-old adage of you can't have your cake and eat it too by baking that cake, eating that cake, sharing that cake with her community, and then working out to burn off that goddamn cake. So, Protima, welcome to She's Resolute.
I'm so happy to be here, and thank you so much for the cake introduction. Yeah, this just makes it like so much more special. I love food, and thank you, man. Thank you for considering me for this. I really love the fact that you're doing this and you're sharing stories with people. I'm honored to be here, really, and I'm so glad we connected again.
Yes, the honor is all mine. I'm so glad to be having this conversation because I think people can really benefit from the kind of work that you do. So, when you reflect on your journey from studying business management in college and then now being an entrepreneur in the world of content creation, brand development, brand management, what do you think was the turning point in your life that made you think that, this is the area that I'm damn good at and I want to pursue it full time?
I wish I could say this was the turning point. The thing is, I think for the longest time, I failed to take myself seriously. I was working in a digital marketing agency after doing my BCom and MBA. And that in itself was such a big risk for me to take because I come from a family of doctors and engineers. And that's all that people understand. That's what I had understood for the longest time. And then the next thing you know, I'm trying to figure out digital marketing when it's just growing in India. 2012, we had Facebook pages where people were they were still considering brand pages. That's when I started digital marketing. After 1.5 years of a really, really stressful job, I said, okay, it's time for me to take a break. Let me take 2 months off and figure out what I need to do because I did not know how to go ahead. I did not know what was growth in this field because I think we were all growing together. In those 2 months, and the thing is now I could take the decision because I got a lot of PF after my, after quitting, which is why I took that decision, Otherwise, I mean, people say I quit my job and I figured out what to do. I don't think so. I don't think it works that way. You have to be financially stable too. I feel that's really important. And after working for 2 years and, paying my own bills, I could not go back to that stage where, I have to ask my folks for money again. So money was always a priority, but I figured that amount was enough for me to, figure out life in the next 2 months. I started blogging on Zomato, and at the same time, I don't know how that picked up really well. So within 2 weeks, I also had a blog for food. And in all of this, there were a couple of food brands that got in touch with me and said that, let's see, Facebook pe kuch karte hain. Can we figure something out? And that's how I started freelancing. It was purely, at that point, it was, I wouldn't say luck, but just, I'm trying something new. And this is pocket money while I still figure out what to do. And what happened in all of this was, this went on for 6 months. And I realized that, okay, fine. There seems to be a pattern. Maybe I can grow. That's when I started taking up a lot of part-time jobs. So instead of an 8 or 10-hour job, I would sign up for just a 4-hour consultancy role where I knew that amount is coming in for sure. And, that's how I kind of got financially secure, while anything else was just pocket money. And why I'm saying pocket money is because I think I wasn't looking at freelancing as a career at all. I didn't know what it was, because for me at that time, freelancers were people who have spent 20 years in the industry and they can call up, their network and say, listen, I am now going to be working on my own. So if there's anything, please let me know. I did not have a network. I didn't know who to ask, for work. So I mean, it was very, I would say it was luck. Ki, okay, I met the right people. But it was also hard work. Now I realize that now. But as I said, it took me so much time to take myself seriously. So usi mein somehow it was 1.5 years when I realized that, okay, this is really, really happening. Maybe I can grow, but I need to be a little more serious. That's when I actually started freelancing, and that's when I actually inquired about the industry rates, and I realized that I was happy earning like a 10-20,000 ka package when people were charging 5 times the amount. And that's how lightly I was taking this. I did not I wasn't investing. I was just looking at the amount in my bank savings account growing, and I was really happy with all of that because I did not understand any of this. So I think after 1.5-2 years of having fun, I realized that chalo theek hai, right now let's start investing. Let's start taking yourself seriously. And I think that's when the work really started. So there's no turning point as such. Yeah. It's just been a journey, and I think I'm still learning.
I hear you, because what the important and the crucial part in what you said is that you took the leap of faith, which a lot of us fail to do, right? I mean, it's very comforting to get that monthly salary. There's nothing wrong with it. But if there's something that, you're from within, you have this calling that, okay, maybe let me try it. I encourage people to at least take that leap of faith. It's taken me a lot to do that as well. So yeah, I do relate to that. So you did mention that you come from a family of doctors, and culturally in India, there's a lot of emphasis on pursuing careers that are mainstream, like medicine, engineering, law, and anything else which in a sense is slightly off the beaten path is generally not understood well or appreciated. And when you started out freelance content writing, this industry was fairly at a nascent stage at that point of time. So how did you develop that connection, to yourself, and that conviction to be able to have that faith that, okay, no, I'm going to do this and I'm going to persist doing what I've set out to do?
I started asking myself the right questions only in the last 3-4 years. So I feel, it's been a journey. It's been a part of the whole, realizing that, like, when do you really start connecting with your work? Why was I doing this? Like, these questions, right? Like, why am I choosing to be under this stressful situation where I don't know where I'm going to start earning from, like in the next 2 months? Why do I choose this every day? Itna kya ego? And then slowly I started, and now because I was asking those kind of questions, I also started choosing the right set of clients.
Yeah.
Because there was no, like, after a point, there was no difference between a corporate job and what I was doing, because the whole point was, flexibility, and, you have your own schedule and stuff. That wasn't the case with me, because I was working 24/7, 7 days a week. Once in a while I would, take a break for a lunch, or, maybe a spa break in the middle of the week, and call that flexibility, not understanding that I had no boundaries. I wasn't enjoying good health. I wasn't enjoying my work. I was working, I think, on autopilot. So I think, and I think I figured it out once I started working on myself, that, okay, fine, you connect with your work because, I don't know, you enjoy. And that's when I also shifted from the bigger brands to the smaller brands, because I wanted to work with people and make them, that whole thing of constantly learning something, you teach something, you learn something from small businesses. I think that's why I've connected so much with the small businesses and homegrown businesses.
Right. And I'm guessing that you must have had some pretty difficult and challenging times through this journey. How do you at that point of time not feel disheartened, or even if you're feeling disheartened and defeated, what do you have that, what's your self-talk, or what do you do to overcome that sort of struggle or challenge at that point of time?
Initially though, I think, it was excitement of earning all of that pocket money and stuff. But I think my first main shock was when I did not get a certain payment, and it was quite a lot, from a client, and an international client. And then it hit me that, okay, what is going on? Is this how it's going to be? So I think at that time, I felt really low, and I was lost, and there's nobody. And the worst part was, I didn't have anyone I could discuss this with, because I didn't have the help of other freelancers. Actually, I didn't know too many freelancers myself. Everybody who I knew was like an industry specialist, or, an expert. And I had no way to connect with them. And then I realized that, okay, maybe, and when I spoke to people about this, everybody said, you can sue them, this, that, the other. And then I realized that, okay, you can't just sue somebody else. Maybe you'll need to, put in money and stuff. That's when I realized that, okay, it's so complicated, and you need that sort of support system. At that point, my support system was very emotional, because I spoke to my folks about this. And I think that's how, because I had that support from them, that, okay, you are young, you've just started out, this is your first mistake, you have all your life to get the money back, and you won't make this mistake again. It was a simple thing. When someone who, like, if your mom tells you that, if your dad tells you that, it feels like, okay, things will be all right. And I think that's where I think I have, till date, I remember this, because this happened in 2014. 14 and 15. Yeah, I still remember it. And whenever I'm in a difficult situation, I focus on this, that, hey, listen, this is not only about money. And I think in the last 2-3 years, because of my habit of gratitude journaling, I have started really, connecting with my work. So yes, the 2020 was a difficult year, and so many of my payments were delayed. I'm still getting payments from like last March.
Yeah.
But I'm not this stressed anymore, because I think that gratitude has changed everything. And gratitude has also helped me form very fulfilling relationships with clients. It's not just work related. So I think there's been a major shift, major transformation, because I decided to work on myself.
Yeah. And I'm curious, what does your gratitude journaling routine seem like? Do you do it every morning? Do you do it before you sleep? Do you write down the things that you're grateful for the day, or is it just gratitude in general?
So it started with, when I started, it was very difficult, because I used to do this every morning, and it didn't make sense to me. I'm like, I'm grateful for getting food. Yeah, everybody gets food. and then slowly when I mean, you start writing and then one day it all makes sense to you. So I started writing every morning, after which now, because it became a habit, I started practicing it without writing it down. So every night before sleeping, I would, say a short little prayer and, okay, thanks and all of that. And next morning, I would actively focus on, thinking about why I'm happy today. And I would find small reasons to be happy about whatever it is. It doesn't always have to be a big thing.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, it's been what, 3 years since I've been doing that. So now I think I do gratitude journaling, like proper writing down properly, maybe once a month, start
Wow.
of the month and end of the month types. Yeah.
That's something that I want to catch on to, because I do have like a little bit of a gratitude routine where when I wake up in the morning, I do the small things and the big things. I'm grateful for the small and the big, and the small can also be how comfortable my pillow is and my bed is. And I do it, yeah. And then through the day, like taking a sip of coffee, if it feels good, I genuinely feel gratitude when I'm drinking that coffee. So I do feel that it can be tremendously powerful. It's a very simple exercise, but it can be very, very powerful. So
Absolutely.
you mentioned the payments, and I was curious. That's because even I've been in the service industry, and I recognize that it's a pretty difficult thing when it comes to determining professional fees, and then recovering that is another ballgame altogether. So when you started off at that point of time, this profession itself was in the initial stages. You were also in the initial stages of your career. How do you negotiate your professional fees, and even when and how do you like tell a client that the effort required and the work product and the quality of work product that you're getting, you're undermining that? So how do you draw those boundaries, or how do you set those standards?
Initially, as I said, I mean, I did not have any of these boundaries, nothing. It was just pocket money. So okay, you pay me 5,000, you pay me 15,000, chalega, it's money for me.
Yeah.
But after 2 years, when I started reading up a lot about this, because there was no one who could help me with this information. It took me like, I think, a year or something to just learn, okay, this is how much you're supposed to charge. But then that again, how do you, how can you confidently, just tell the client that this is how much I charge? That is so scary. I was so nervous because, again, I think that personal work had not started. And when it did, the boundaries automatically started, forming themselves. Like it was like, one of the other things that I was asked to do was just tell myself that, what you're doing is worth it. You're good enough. These small positive self-talk, basically. So a lot of this basically helped me realize that whatever I was doing it by myself. I was building it. This was the time I was taking. I was worth that money. This was my value. And that has taken me so much time that, okay, today, just talking to myself and telling myself daily, like, I remember I used to make pitch presentations and not send them out for 2-3 days because I just didn't know how to send somebody an email saying this is how much I want to charge.
Yeah.
Because I was so scared. And then I would be checking my emails obsessively, that what are they going to say? If somebody would say, this is too much for us, I would be defensive about, why I'm charging this much, rather than explaining it to them. So the way I was talking to my clients or potential leads also changed when I started working on myself. So yeah, I mean, it's been like, that's why I keep saying freelancing is a way of life. It's not just a career, it's really, I mean, I think my personal growth and freelancing have kind of, they're enjoying a very nice balance.
I love that, because even the thing about confidently telling somebody that this is what your worth is, because eventually when you're giving somebody some sort of work product, it comes down to that. That's something that a lot of us struggle with. And do you feel that women struggle with that more? I mean,
that is such a sad thing, because I have worked with freelancers and most of them are actually women. And the few male freelancers, I mean, they're great at their job. It's just that somebody who has 5 years less experience will probably end up getting 5 times more than what I am charging without any negotiations. And I've seen this happening in front of me. So in fact, there have been times when I have asked a guy to be the client servicing person because he's going to get us the money. And it's really sad. And because I have seen all of this, I also, when I work with women, I try to give them the best budgets possible. But if it's not good, I tell them, hey, listen, I don't think this is worth it. I don't think you should be doing this. And I think that's how I kind of ended up forming this close-knit community, you know, because I think there was a lot of trust also. I've kept things very transparent, saying that this is how much people charge. Because I never got that myself, and I know it made me a very bitter person, and I don't like that energy, and I don't want people to go through that.
So I would love to hear about your journey about starting your venture with the mill. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, this was, again, it was never a plan. I was supposed to be like, when I figured out I'm a freelancer, I just thought I'll be a freelancer. But now, as my, over the years, as my network grew and work started increasing, after saying no for a couple of months, I realized that, I mean, I could grow. I could take on that work. It was probably coming in, it was not within my scope, but I could always team up with someone who could offer those services. So what happened was I started networking a lot. And in all of that, I ended up with a lot of clients, and obviously I could not handle all of it myself. And I started delegating the work. So when you start delegating, you grow. That has been one of my favorite learnings. You delegate and you grow, because it's and it happens within months, within weeks. Work, and suddenly there's like 10 more accounts. So I was having an amazing time. Again, not realizing that in all of this, I had formed a community where people were talking to each other, talking to me, discussing how much they were getting paid, talking about problems they were facing in freelancing, talking about, talking to me about their money problems. And I loved this because I was, this is the conversation that I wish I had when I was starting out, and I could feel that sort of energy in this team. And that's when I realized that, okay, now I'm confident of my network. I'm confident of our skills. I can formalize this community and call it the mill. Now, the thing is, it's not an agency, because everyone's a freelancer, everyone's a remote worker. The point is for us to keep sharing the work, because I am not the only person who's bringing in work. Tomorrow, another freelancer might say, hey, listen, something's come up. Like, I have a client. I can't take it up, but let's divide the work. So that way, instead of saying no to the client, there are 3 people who can earn because of, that one lead. And this relationship is what, forms the mill at the end of it. When people start reaching out to you, because of something that they've read and it's connected with them, this is how it works with books and stories, right? So I got that sort of a feeling that people are reading what I'm writing, they're connecting, and it's making a difference to them, or they want to talk about something, and I'm making friends. So that was that experience, right? I mean, it has been so special, which is why another thing is that, whenever I meet somebody outside of Instagram, and, or if we, bump into like people outside of Instagram, I always ask them for their handle, only because I know that I am so tuned into my, conversations, that I know that, okay, this has been this person's journey. So they can say, I was the one who messaged you about this particular thing. And I'll be like, I know we've had this conversation. So, and I think that also changed when, because even with Instagram, right? Even with my Instagram and my blog, there was this time when I wasn't in a very happy place. I was the whole social media comparison, and that is just before the turning point in life. Like, that's when I was comparing myself to people who are not even in the same industry. Like, forget, I mean, there is I would laugh at myself right now, but theek hai, like I get it. You look at great photos, you look at great collaborations by people who are in the right place at the right time, and you just hate yourself. And that is what was happening. I stopped posting for a month or something, and I randomly broke down in a cafe, and that's when I realized that okay, this was getting out of hand because I wasn't enjoying anything in life. I was cranky, fighting with people, all of that. Chalo, I thought that chalo, it's a phase, maybe it's stress. But when that happened, I realized that okay, why am I doing this? What's going on? That was also the time when I ended up with a stress injury at the gym. I did not listen to my body. I continued because ego lifting bhi ho raha tha at that time. And because of which it just like the injury just got worse. And basically for 4 months, I could not go to the gym. And that's when I turned to yoga. And yoga, cycling, uh, that's when meditation started. That's when counseling started. And that's when I realized that why was I not giving myself any importance? There was always somebody else's validation required. There was always I had to prove something to somebody else, and there was a comparison going on. I was not doing anything for myself, which is why I was not confident about asking for how much the industry rates maybe, or asking for my own money even after 3 months, and delayed payments and stuff. um and I think that's where it all started. And my blog has been a direct reflection of what's going on in my life, and I think that honesty is what has helped me get this community today, which is why I have a few apps that take me back to memories, and 5 years ago on this day, and I can see my tweets, I can see my photos. I have not deleted them, even though they are like cringe-worthy, because it reminds me of the entire journey. And I'm still not confident enough to say, hey, this is how I used to talk, because it embarrasses me. There is still that part of me that that says, hey, I shouldn't have been saying that, because today I know that was wrong. So there's still work, like I'm still working on that. But I know that I want to one day start sharing those photos again, sharing those captions again, saying this is what it used to be for me, this is how it's changed, and this is why I'm so grateful that I get to have these conversations now. 25K followers is, I mean, it's a number on my profile, that's it. I remember once upon a time I used to cry ki 10K kyun nahi ho raha hai, so and that has, and I have written about all of this either on stories or on Instagram posts, blog posts. Now with blog posts, I think I was writing a lot last year because work had reduced and I had all the time to write. But I don't have so much time to write right now. But at the same time, I wouldn't say, I'm probably focusing on Instagram. I'm writing somewhere or the other. But I make sure that, I'm sharing my story, because I've had conversations with people because they've connected with my story, and I've realized that okay, being authentic, being honest has helped somebody else. So it's okay. I mean, I don't have to probably change 50 lives. It's okay if I change 5. And that's it. And that also, I mean, it'll happen organically. I don't have to, force myself into something that, where I don't fit in. Correct. And so the blog has been that, it's super special to me. Yeah. It's not just
that comes across. That comes across, and that's because you're so real and so honest in that. I mean, I've also followed your blog posts, and they're really, really relatable because you're very real. And a lot of us try to keep an online image for validation, which is why it's not real, right? So when somebody really pours their heart out, or even if it's a big or small aspect of your life that you're sharing with, the people who follow you, it can be incredibly valuable to maybe just 100 people who are reading that out of the 25K people, and that might just turn their day around and have a domino effect. So I really applaud you for that, and you've been doing it for such a long time. That too is so incredible.
Thank you.
So I now want to get to how do you manage your time, because you have a business, you have a successful blog. So how do you manage your creative process and how do you schedule both?
Great at time management, and it's like I can actually, I think that's a superpower. I can manage anybody's life, honestly. You give me a schedule for you, and I get a kick out of it. So the thing is, I mean, over the years I've realized that okay, this routine suits me, and I'm a morning person, so I am okay waking up at 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. on days that are really stressful. Like today was a really hectic day, so I woke up at 5:30 because I want to read. I know that if I don't start my day with some me time, I cannot function. I will be irritated. So I will make sure that I'll wake up, I'll read, I'll sip on my coffee, I'll work out, and then I'll get to work. So what happens is there's no information overload. I usually don't even check my phone in the first 45 minutes after waking up. I don't have any notifications on, like emails and all, though not on my phone, just not happening because I am at my laptop all day. So these are small things that I have kind of realized that okay, if this triggers me, it's going to be out of my way. In all of this, what happens is then I can focus on, I make to-do lists. I am great at making to-do lists again. I can make anybody's to-do list. And then, according to priority and then stuff like that. So once I have that in front of me, like after this, I'm going to be making my to-do list for tomorrow. So I will know what is to be done when. And then I just get to my task. So when I'm writing in the morning, I will keep my phone on airplane mode because I don't want any distractions. My research will be on the desktop. There's no Instagram to distract me. There's no WhatsApp to distract me. As soon as the major work is done, that's when I switch on my phone again and start coordinating with people or the Slack. And, I kind of make sure that, I have time slots dedicated to each and every task. I also have to take that 20-minute lunch break whenever I get time. But it's important to not have that phone or a book or TV or that screen when you're eating. And I think just having that sort of discipline, right? Like knowing that I have to stop working at 7. All of that, right? Like, and after that, there might be nothing to do after 7, but I read or I'll probably go to sleep early. That's okay. I mean, I'm not missing out of anything because I think it's just, you have to keep taking those breaks. You have to, and I think that is how I end up being more productive. And that's why once in a while, once a week, when I have those, 14, 15-hour long days, I'm okay. I'm okay with that because I know I'll manage. It's not it's not a habit. And but I think reading and working out is what keeps me sane.
So you work out first thing in the morning?
Yeah. I can't work out in the evening.
So after your reading and your me time, that's when you start working out, and then you come to your laptop and you start working out.
Exactly.
Working.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, like working, eating, and then working. Yeah. I can't work out in the evening.
So after your reading and your me time, that's when you start working out, and then you come to your laptop and you start working out.
Exactly.
Working.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, like working, eating, and then working.
So a couple of things to unpack here for the people who are watching and listening. Your routine is like the millionaire mindset routine that people hear about.
Waking up almost millions now, that's it.
No, it's the waking up at 5 a.m., not checking your phone, not having email on your phone, reading first thing in the morning, and scheduling reading, which is very important because you can just have an abstract passion of wanting to read, but if you don't schedule it into your routine, you're never going to get to it. Scheduling your workouts, then getting to work, and then having the discipline to shut down at 7 p.m. and having a timeout time. These are all like, this is advice that's gold. And if people can follow even like 50% of it, it'll be incredible. And you get a lot of hold over your life and your routine as such. Yeah. Even terrible days actually become manageable emotionally if you have a good routine. So there's a really, really good, like, Like, these are things that I would highly recommend. Even there's a lot for me to learn also. Waking up in the morning is something that I struggle with. For me, like 6 o'clock waking up is really, really, really difficult, but I do it because I want to try and get my workout out of the way in the morning itself.
But
But
the
yeah.
thing with me is I'll also go to sleep at 10 o'clock. I'm that person. So I want to I'm comfortable going to sleep at 8 o'clock also. That's my thing because I love early mornings. I'm a sunrise person.
I love that. I love that. In a day and age when motivational speeches and motivational content online really pushes you to constantly hustle to a point where you're successful, and that in turn can add a lot of pressure, and that sort of pressure eventually will jeopardize your mental and emotional health. So what are your views on being able to balance work and life, hustle and play, and how do you weave that into your life?
Yeah, so I have been a victim of toxic hustle culture where I was talking about, hey, listen, I'm only sleeping for 4 hours a day because I have, big goals and big dreams. And I still have those tweets. I've not deleted those. I look at those and I cringe. But because of that stress injury and what I learned in those 4 months while I recovered, I realized how important it was to take a break. I'd taken a break. I had allowed myself to recover, heal, physically heal. And then when I went back to the gym, I realized I had to start from scratch because I'd lost everything that I'd worked for. But when I started from there, that's when, I was just going to the gym, doing thoda sa warm up and going to the weights. I realized the importance of mobility, cooling down, warming up, all of that. And then I realized that, okay, you take it slow. Now that is something that I applied to my professional life, my personal life, relationships. And I think that's when, it's become like, okay, you need to slow down. Even with my holidays, right? The style of taking that holiday also has changed. I remember some 4 years ago, we would take a 10-day break, but we would visit 20 places. And that's okay. It's fun. There's nothing wrong in it. It's just that I know how hectic I used to feel, how chaotic I would feel because of that. And then at the end of it, you also realize you've not really seen a place. And if I was so passionate about people and stories and I'm meeting new people and making friends, where was I? I wasn't getting time for that. You have to slow down for that. So now it's we go to one place for 10 days. And there's been that shift, I think I've just slowed down. So that early morning start, even if I start my day at 8 o'clock, I will make sure that that workout, reading, and a good breakfast is how I start my day. And then comes in the work and the work. Maybe it's not like sitting in front of the laptop for 6 hours straight. I will make sure that calls, I make sure that I get, now that we've been working from home, I will go to the balcony, I'll get some sunlight, I'll walk around during calls, take that lunch break and things like that. And then again, knowing that, okay, this is when you stop. I don't like that, I'll figure this out at night. I want to take this, I want to end the day at 6 o'clock and then I'll come back and I'll figure it out. I don't want to end my day with a laptop. I make sure that, okay, if in case I have to work late, this is how I have to, figure out my schedule. So all of that, right? Also leaving some space for, accommodating something new, being flexible while being on schedule. It's been, and I think that's why I say it's my superpower. Trust me. I've actually started accepting it, started talking about it, because uske pehle I was just like, okay, isn't this how it is for everyone? Like,
it's not.
you should be able to manage, right? But yeah.
Good. I love a good fitness analogy, because even for me, most analogies are, driven from fitness. So when you said that, how you derive inspiration from fitness and your process there to your own life, I do that as well. Because even with fitness and coming to a point where you look fit to other people, it's a long ass process. It takes years. It doesn't happen like in a couple of months or in a few days. It takes years. For me, after 6 years, I can be like, okay, I can take a break of a few months and then come to a position where I'll be like, okay, no, I can bounce back quickly. But that's a
Yeah.
process that's taken years for
Yeah.
somebody to visually look a certain way. And it's the same thing with your profession as well. To us,
Yeah.
even if we're hearing that you've got those processes figured out now, or in a place where you manage them well, it's taken that time for you to curate it, tweak it, make your mistakes, and then come to a point where you're like, yeah, no, I'm good at this. I can manage this. So that's great. Another really wonderful piece I'd read on your blog post was about sisterhood and the importance of women supporting and uplifting each other. And I'm curious how you came about to that realization and what your trajectory has been in that thought process from the time that you were maybe a child or a teenager to now.
Wow. I mean, this is one of my favorite things to talk about, because that has been such a transformation. I used to be so insecure. I used to be so scared, so threatened of other girls. And this is while growing up. It's also because, I mean, being from the army background, you've been in an army school in small towns. So things were really secure there. And then I came to Pune and I was in an all-girls school. And there were some things that just, just the fact that, I mean, there were cliques. As a 12-year-old will not understand that. The way people were discussing songs, fashion, and if you didn't fit into that, you were looked down upon. So I was, and in my head, I was still a really, really young child. So I didn't understand what it was like to grow up that way, which is why I started feeling intimidated very easily. Plus, there was no self-confidence. So there was, I automatically assumed that, okay, fine, I'm not going to be someone who can, walk into a room, make friends, especially with girls. Then, that whole thing when you become a teenager and you start talking about, oh, I'm not like other girls. It was my favorite thing to say. I had a lot of guy friends, and we would bond even more because I would say I'm not like other girls. And I would talk about, oh yeah, this girl does this drama, this, it was very toxic. And that continued for quite a lot of time. But then what happened was, again, this happened through freelancing actually. Now, this is where freelancing has helped me in my personal life, where I was figuring out my, scene with freelancing. And there were a couple of older women who reached out to me with projects, and I liked the energy that they brought along. They were very secure. They were very encouraging, very warm, and it was really odd for me because, I mean, these are people I've met on Twitter or on Instagram, and they're saying, "Hey, listen, I'm visiting your city. Let's meet for coffee." And I'm like, "Why would she want to meet me for coffee? What do you talk about?" And a few meetings like this with older women made me realize that, okay, what was this, where was the security coming from? Because I'd not seen that anywhere. And I didn't have girlfriends for the longest time because of this. And that's when, I think that was the time during which I actually met my best friend, and she was secure from day one. And it took me 2-3 years to actually get that way, because I used to be like, okay, why is she so honest with me? I was so scared for the longest time. So, and this reflected in my relationships too. And then slowly with, while working with women who were asking me to, charge this much, or were telling me that, hey, listen, you love money, accept it. You're working for money, accept it. All of this, right? And women helping each other out. I was seeing this around me. And once that, I don't know, and somewhere I was inspired. I don't know. I still remember who these women are. And we might not be in touch right now, but I still, check on their Facebook updates once in a while. I'm not on Twitter anymore, but Instagram page, if they post something, I'm the first one to go and comment. They changed this for me, they changed the way I saw women. And now, surprisingly, like I didn't realize this, but I was actually moving towards all female clients, female freelancers. And last year, I just very randomly, realized that all my clients are women. And at that point, we were an all girls team at that point. And I was like, I mean, that is what I was enjoying, and I'm just meeting secure women. So, they say empowered women empower women. That is what I've learned. And I was inspired to inspire other people in this energy, like that female energy, right? That, okay, somebody can probably wear ripped jeans because she's seen me wearing it. No hating me for it, which is what has happened in the past, because I've done stuff like that. I have hated a woman for wearing something, and I have, said names, and it's not right. Or if a woman wants to, earn a certain amount, it's up to her. Like I've understood feminism for the last 4 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Like feminism is awesome. Yeah.
No, and again, there's a learning curve to that as well, because for me, every single thing that you said, I resonate with. Every single thing that you said, I had the same, and you don't know where it's coming from, that sort of distrust or insecurity. You don't know where it's, even if you have a loving mother, there is it's just inherent sometimes. And I didn't even realize it's subconscious for the longest time. And then working in a workplace where anyway, the energy is masculine, it's male dominated, it's a bit aggressive. That insecurity, if you don't curtail it, I mean, if you don't check it properly, it kind of ends up getting out of control. So for me also, that checking phase of checking myself every time I was being unreasonable with my thoughts about another woman, it started with that no, put yourself in her shoes, put yourself, what if you were her, what if you were her. I started doing that, and that was probably the only thing that I consciously did. And then that for me was that journey to feminism. And I also have had the opportunity to work with women and to interact with women. And now I think in my early 30s, I'm realizing it's just one of the most amazing things to be able to have that sort of sisterhood. Yeah, I agree. And now I do want to come to this part where it's something that I'm incredibly curious about with people. And it's a thing that's spoken about a lot, about passion and purpose. So what you do, it seems like you love what you do, and you're doing it day in and day out. You are actually doing the hustle. Even though you found that balance, you are doing that hustle. So what would your advice be to people who feel stuck in their professions, and how do you encourage them to find their passion and purpose?
I mean, everyone has goals, but I feel we fail when we don't break them down into smaller goals. Like I want to be on the cover of Forbes, maybe, but what am I doing for it? What are my small term, my short-term goals? How am I going to get that? That is what people, and this is something I've realized in the last couple of years, talking to people where they say, hey, I want to do this. They see the finished product. And that's the thing, social media, I feel, but you can't help it. I mean, I used to hate social media too, but now I know that this is where, again, very grateful. This is where my money is coming in from. I respect it and I treat it, accordingly. And I don't, but at the same time, I know it has its flaws. So people are looking at a well-produced movie, or, a certain video, well-curated photograph. And, that comparison sets in, right? Like you will be like, okay, this is where I want to be. How do I do it? I don't know. And many people are not passionate about, that goal. And you need to understand why. I mean, the understanding your why, right? So why do you want to be an influencer? Do you really want to be an influencer? Is it because you have seen an influencer and you are influenced to be an influencer? You know what I mean? So when you say passion, identify your passion, really identify it. Ask yourself those questions. And then those smaller goals are everything. And that's where the and you'll fail many times, but that's the thing. When you know that you're moving towards that particular thing, you will learn something. And another thing is, the beauty of the whole process is that maybe a failure will teach you something else, and maybe plan A becomes plan B. There is something new that comes up. And I think, that breaking it down into those smaller steps and just like being on that journey, that is beautiful. Like, every month you're learning something, every day you're learning something new, and then in 3 years you're a new person, and
I mean, and I think growth in and of itself is so beautiful. A lot of us, I won't generalize, but sometimes you tend to see your shortcomings and you try to wear that as a badge of honor, that, oh, this is how I am, or, oh, this is not what I'm supposed to do, or I don't have the circumstances to. All probably very valid, but so important to get you yourself have to get out of your way first. And once you do that, then the key thing would be to break down your goal. You're seeing a finished product. It takes years. Even if you're seeing a Sachin Tendulkar, he started when he was like a piddly kid, and that too, he started with tennis, and then he realized, oh no, tennis I don't want to do. Okay, let me just do cricket. So it takes time. I love what you said. So I do want to get to this part. What would be the advice now that you have a bit of life experience? What is the advice that you would like to go back in time and give to the 18-year-old Protima?
There's so many things that I'd like to say, but I think because I had no confidence, and I mean, I think I did not like myself. I did not. I would just say maybe, they don't hate you, and you're worth it. Like, you're worth it. I understand that now, but that they don't hate you. That part,
I love that. Oh God, I love that. I wish that's taught in schools to go. No, I love that. Thank you. And this is a question that I ask all of my guests. What, according to you, does it take to be resolute?
Self-love. I don't know. I think that's been my answer for everything that you've asked me, actually. But self-love, really, because that's where the confidence will come from. That's where the boundaries will come from. The positive self-talk will happen because of self-love. So that's why I talk about counseling, because counseling is not just because you have a certain illness. I feel everyone should go for counseling, which is why I feel it should also be more affordable. Because we don't, for the long, just something like the imposter syndrome, right? I mean, feeling like you're not good enough, which is affecting your work. What will people think? Are ye matlab stress hai, or this is how I am. Confidence low hai, so it's not a thing that needs counseling. I don't think so. So I'm really, really big on self-love, self-care. And one good thing here is, because I've been talking about self-love, self-care, all of that in the last 1 year, I've had some people reaching out to me, strangers, but now we are friends, Instagram friends, just saying that, seeing your posts made me consider counseling, and I have started going for therapy, or I have started going for counseling. And I'm like, I mean, thank you. I don't know how to express myself, really. I mean, I'm so happy that people are taking this seriously, because that's when they learn to keep themselves first. And I think that's when you learn to be resilient.
I love that. I have nothing to add to that. I have goosebumps when you said that self-love is actually at the core of everything. That's beautiful. I can speak with you for a very, very long time. And I'm hoping that we have many more of such conversations. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Protima. Please keep inspiring.
Thank you so much for having me. I just love what you're doing. I'm so happy that we had this conversation, really.
I am too. The pleasure is all mine. And please keep inspiring and stay resolute.
Thank you, and you too.
I hope you liked this episode. For more content to empower your mindset, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and do share this with resolute women in your life. Take care and bye bye.